I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. Back in last December through about February of this past year, I had really bad dysphoria. Now, I was really lucky in that I had a lot of friends that were there to support me and always asking what they could do to help, but at the time, I didn't really have an answer for them. So recently I sat down and I really thought through what are the best things somebody can do to help me when I'm having really bad dysphoria. And I was able to come up with a list I wanted to share with you. Now, before I go into specifics, there are two important things to remember. Firstly, that I don't speak for all trans people, so I'm going to be doing this entire video referring to myself, although this is meant to be advice that you can hopefully apply to any trans friends you might have. Know that just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for them. Secondly, it's important to know that dysphoria is a cycle and it's something that doesn't just go away. Somebody who transitioned 20 years ago can have dysphoria the same way somebody who's just starting their process can. So your goal shouldn't be to just suddenly cure someone's dysphoria, and don't expect that as a result. You're just there to act as support. So let's get started. Here are 7 things I've come up with that somebody else can do to help me with my dysphoria. Number 1, and this applies a little more to when I first started transitioning, but use my name and gender-specific words. And this can apply to regular day-to-day, or if I'm having a dysphoric episode. It helps me not forget who I am. Number 2, ask if there's a particular problem and if there's any way you can help remove it. It could just be that I need a buddy to go to the bathroom, or somebody in the area is making me uncomfortable, or a topic of conversation is causing me dysphoria. Sometimes there isn't a particular thing that causes it, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Number 3, ask me if I want to talk about it, but don't push it. Sometimes talking helps, but sometimes it doesn't. Even if you can't understand what I'm going through or offer any advice, just having somebody there to listen can really help. And that's because for me, sometimes when I say what I'm thinking out loud, that can help me understand what I'm feeling, where my dysphoria is coming from, and what I need to do to make it a little better. Number 4, and this one almost always helps, distract me. I'm a big believer that time heals all wounds. If you can distract me for long enough, I might even forget what was bothering me in the first place. It's happened before. Be sure to keep talking to me, make sure I'm listening, try to get me to laugh. See if you can get me to do something that will keep me occupied, something that will keep my attention but doesn't require me to talk too much. Playing video games, or a game on your phone, or doing something repetitive like throwing a football around, or maybe a puzzle. I don't know who has puzzles anymore, but something like that works. Number 5, physical contact, but be careful with this one. Being touched, especially by somebody I'm really close to, has always been something that's helped me. A lot of the time when my dysphoria kicks in, I start to feel really disgusting, like I'm something that should be feared or hated, and I start to think that other people must see me the same way. I feel awkward about my body, and showing that you aren't afraid to touch me can help that feeling go away a little bit. Be very careful though, because sometimes I or other trans people might not want to be touched. Watch my body language, and if you're unsure if it's okay, ask first. Number 6, ask me if I need to get out. If there's too many people around and I'm having bad dysphoria, I'll usually just crawl further and further inside of myself. If you notice that I'm doing this, ask me if I want to go for a walk or just sit outside for a minute. It gives me a chance to talk one-on-one if I need to. And finally, number 7, and I think this is the most basic and simple, but also one of the most important things you can do, and that's acknowledge me. The problem a lot of my friends had when I was getting really bad dysphoria is that they never really knew what triggered it, and since I would shut down so quickly, it would take them by surprise, and they just wouldn't know what to do. And if that's the case for you with somebody you know, start off by just showing that you see that they're in pain. This could be something verbal, asking if they're alright, but you might not even have to use words. A hand on the shoulder, a hug, or even the right kind of look can show that you're acknowledging that something's wrong. I know a lot of times this worked like magic for me. It made me feel less alone and made it a lot easier for me to ask for help. Finally, and I know this sucks, but understand that there's only so much you can do. And sometimes I just need to take time by myself. That doesn't mean your efforts weren't appreciated or that what you did didn't help, it just means I need to cope on my own. But I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, by all means leave them in the comments below. If you're trans yourself and you have any suggestions, something that helps you, I'd be really interested in knowing. And that is all I have for now. I hope this was informative and helpful, and I will see you next time. Say bye, puppy.
Hi camera, it's been a while since I've seen you. We're going up to Sam's cabin. Woo! With Raymond, Connor, Sammy, P. Jamie, and me, your favorite.
That we have yet to make.